How's it going, everybody? Once again, this is Al. If you're watching on YouTube, please click that like button and subscribe button. We're here for week 17 to go over our lineup builder show on DraftKings.com to talk about your questions with my Twitch subscribers here are going to ask me questions for the next 45 minutes to an hour. As long as they have questions, I'll sit here and answer them over that time on the week 17 slate. Week 17 is completely different from every other NFL slate that you've seen over the course of the year. It's a lot more like preseason than it is like regular season because players are going to rest. You have to be nimble. Very much like an NBA slate where you have to be ready right up until inactives come on Sunday, an hour and a half before lock time. We're not going to know everybody who's in and out, and we're going to get surprised. I guarantee you, somebody is going to be inactive this week that is going to be a major player that's going to shift things on the slate and create more value than you thought, and you're going to have to change up your lineups on Sunday before lineups lock, and that's just the way that it goes every week 17, but to me, it's invigorating. I love the way it is. You have to be nimble. It rewards those who are information rich, and that's what we try to be right here on this stream. Before we get started, I wanted to say thank you to everybody who has donated to our Feeding America fundraiser this month, where our goal is $10,000 raised. Right now, we are sitting at 88%. Let me refresh just in case. Yeah, 88%. You can see the donations roll in. I'm going to be donating $5,000 to this, either as soon as we hit $10,000 or New Year's Eve, December the 31st. We have 2 days left to go to reach the goal. We are very, very close. So thank you to everybody that's donated. You can see them scrolling along the bottom there. My old host, Dean Shavelson, if you want to get all technical on him. Very generous from Dean, Kyle Steinfeld, Ben Rasa, Matt. He's like a Brazilian soccer player. He goes by one name. Thank you to everybody that's donated so far. And thank you to those of you who have not yet but will soon. If you can donate $1, if you can donate $5, every little bit adds up. So don't feel like you have to be donating $500 or $1,000. We'd obviously accept that. That would be outstanding. But if you can only afford $1 or $5, if you appreciate the content that I've put out over the course of this year, please give whatever you can. It goes to a very good cause this holiday season. So let's get to the chat real quick. See what you guys have to say. Here I come. Let's get to 10K. I agree. Donate, folks. We can play for DS money. We can give $5 or $10, even more discretionary funds to those. And I totally agree. Exactly. I'm not asking people to give what they can't. I'm asking you to give what you can. That's all. It's, and 98.6% of the money that goes through Feeding America goes directly to the people in need. So it's not a charity that takes a lot out. But let's get to the questions. That's why you're here. Rams starters, Killer Bees, Tyreek, DeMarco, all going to be out or ruled out. I agree. And then we also have the possibility that we're going to be without some of the Steelers starters. Is Ridley cash game viable? I don't know. I mean, okay. So, like, you've got a lot of running backs that are going to be value plays this week, that are going to be popular value plays this week that we have to consider, right? And identifying which ones are going to be chalk, which ones are going to be fake chalk, which ones are going to be nasty, which ones are going to pay out. An interesting argument, like, okay, so going to the screen here just to take a look, right? Here's the running backs. Kamara Hunt, fine if you want them. Not Hunt. Kamara or where'd he go? Ingram. I think both of them are fine. They need to win this game. They're playing against Tampa Bay. It should be a high-scoring affair. If you want to go with one or the other, fine, but you're going to have to pay up to get them. I really like Drake here. He may be without Tunstall, who is doubtful on the weekend, but going against the Bills, a team that I target pretty much all the time. Bell was somebody I want to play just out of, like, want, because I feel like Pittsburgh has to win this game. They have to at least go for a home field, but if they're not going to, if they're just going to just punt the game and sit Bell or play him for only a half, that's really annoying. The Giants have nobody. They're going to be playing probably without Shepard, probably without Ingram. One value play that I don't think we've talked about enough is Wayne Gallman. We have not spoken enough about this guy this week, and I didn't write him up in Best Buys. This is probably going to be an X-Factor guy for me. Getting very similar usage the last 3 weeks to somebody like Alvin Kamara. But he's 4.2K, and nobody else is there. No Shepard, no Ingram. Where are these targets going to go for the Giants against Washington? You're talking about somebody who's seen, 24 targets over the last 3 weeks with no less than 7 in any one game. We're fine playing Gallman, right? We're fine playing Gallman. Everybody wants to talk about Brown, right? Everybody wants to talk about Malcolm Brown on the Rams. But San Francisco's been a very, very stingy defense against the run the last 4 or 5 weeks. This is not a defense that's been just giving it up. I know Malcolm Brown on the Rams offense, albeit not really the Rams offense. They're going to be sitting a couple offensive linemen, their quarterback, their wide receivers. I'd rather invest in a 3K wide receiver than a 3.9K running back when on DraftKings with full PPR, we have Wayne Gallman getting the amount of targets that he's getting in this offense. 6 catches is like a touchdown. So I'm really warming to Wayne Gallman here on Friday. It is 12:15 Pacific time as we're recording this, so I kind of like them. Word is Bell isn't playing from Power Bait in the chat. 7 major Packers ruled out, including Devontae, Jordan, Jordy, Aaron Jones. Totally agree. That opens up Williams, I think, at running back. We talked about this on the Edge pod. Williams has seen a major... Where is he? Williams has seen a major share of the carries and targets in those games, this stretch right here, right? When Aaron Jones was out. Look at this. They play slower when Hundley's at quarterback, do the Green Bay Packers. He is going to get 20-plus touches in a game when nobody else is there because they have to run the ball. He gets the goal line work. He gets involvement in the passing game. He's only 5,200. I think Jamal Williams most certainly in play this weekend. You know, if you can stomach playing Gallman, it just is what it is. It's week 17. Look at it like preseason. You're looking for guys who are going to play a monster amount of snaps, get a good amount of usage, and that's more the key than anything. And you're going to have to open yourself up to playing guys that you don't normally like to roster. Confident Michael Thomas? I don't know. I haven't seen Friday's practice report. We're going to have to wait until Sunday morning for that one. I'm very high on Michael Thomas this week, personally, if his hamstring is healthy. If he's not on the injury report, I'm probably going to have more shares than be overweight to the field on Michael Thomas. Even with DeMarco, our confidence level in Henry, my confidence level in Henry is directly correlated to how many starters Jacksonville plays and how long people think that they're going to play them. Saints onslaught, not against that in tournaments at all. You only have 5 or 6 wide receivers you wrote down for cash game consideration. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all, especially with all the value that we're finding at running back. You can just go very small at wide receiver, and like there's 2 guys at wide receiver that I think are maybe head and shoulders above everybody else. I think that, you're looking at Julio Jones and T.Y. Hilton as probably the top 2 wide receivers that we have to talk about, right? Julio Jones, Adams got him as his conviction play this week. Carolina, terrible against the pass. 2 of the worst cornerbacks on the outside in the league. Julio with as good a matchup as he's going to see as a team that he lit up last year. T.Y. Hilton with the best matchup that he sees and the amount of points that he's piled up, both against the Houston Texans over the last 3 years with or without Andrew Luck. He did it earlier this year. His best game of the season, I believe, coming against Houston in week 9. 5 catches, 175 yards, 2 touchdowns, 37.5 DraftKings points. Those probably the 2 most chalky wide receivers on the slate. What about Gronk with the incentive? Gronk's incentive is also, right, okay, so it's 11 catches, triggers $2 million, or 160, or is it 165 yards? Sorry, 116 yards triggers that, or if he's first team All-Pro. So those 3 things trigger that bonus in his contract. So it's not like it's just those 2 yardage and reception things. It's one of those 3. But I'm not against playing Gronk this week. I think it's a great play to play Gronk this week, and knowing that they kind of have to win this game to lock up home field throughout, I'm on them anyway. He will get All-Pro, says UNC. I don't think he won't. I think it's close between him and Kelsey, and you're going to have some people that say, yeah, but Kelsey didn't make that ridiculously dirty play. I think that if Gronk was 80% before that play, he's maybe 60% now. So there's a chance that it goes to Kelsey, is my only argument there. Because Kelsey was the tight end 1 until Gronk went on this stretch the last 3.5 games that he's played. So I think that people will make that distinction. Deion Lewis versus CMC for DK Cash. I personally think that it's Lewis. So we have 1 and we have 2. They're 100 apart. I know that Atlanta, look, McCaffrey averaging more fantasy points. I think people are going to lean to him. You have Atlanta that funnels targets to opposing running backs. That's just the way that they run their offense, is they force you to dump the ball down, and McCaffrey, one of the highest targeted running backs in the league, and obviously one of the top 3 targets on the Panthers. I just think that Dion Lewis, with this expanded role in this offense, is going to get inclusion in the passing game like we saw last week, is going to get 15 to 22 carries on the day. I know it's a wide range, but it just kind of is what it is because it's the Patriots and have to allow for a wider range than other teams. And he's going to get, some work near the goal line, though not at the goal line, as that's going to go away to Gillislee. Now, McCaffrey also not getting goal line work either, and he has 2 vultures. He's got a running back vulture in Stewart, and he's got a Cam Newton that is going to vulture close touchdowns as well. So you got 2 running backs that have to score from range. I'm going to take the one that's going to get more volume at the same price point. For me, it's Lewis over McCaffrey. Could probably go both. Thoughts on Keenan this week? Yeah, Keenan Allen's fine. Not against him. Like I said, you could pay up at wide receiver with all the value. You can go value at running back. One value running back that we haven't really talked about, or at least I didn't write up in Best Buy, we talked about on the edge, is Carlos Hyde getting a ton of volume as always. Goal line work. One of the guys who is not actualized he's on the wrong side of touchdown variance, right? Let's just say that. So he hasn't actualized all the usage that he's gotten and converted that into touchdowns. But now with way more red zone trips coming for the 49ers with Jimmy G at the helm, you have to think that his touchdown probability has taken a turn for the better as well. And it has. You've seen 2 touchdowns over the past 3 weeks from Carlos Hyde. After a long touchdown drought since week 6, right? So like now he's back to scoring touchdowns, not as involved in the passing game anymore as he was during this stretch from week 7 through week 12 before Jimmy G took over, when they just couldn't get the ball outside with Beathard. Now they can. So it's going to be less running back centric in the passing game. You have a quarterback that can actually deliver the ball, but he still gets used at least a little bit in the passing game for a little slight bonus. He's getting 15 plus carries every week. He's got all the goal line usage, and he's playing against a shell of a Rams team that is going to be sitting at least 8 or 9 of their best players. Even though it's on the road, even though it's against the Rams, Carlos had a really good play at 4,900 this week. Price down for the Rams matchup, but it's not really the Rams. Gronk in cash, not against that. Is Olsen playable in cash? Tight end sucks. I don't think tight end sucks. Maybe I'm wrong. I think tight end's okay this week. I'm not anti-tight end. I mean, look, if you want to come up to the top, right? You want to pay the most. You got Kelsey and Gronk. I prefer Gronk. I don't think Kelsey's going to play. If he does, if not much. You can come down to Olsen if you like at 5,600. Not against that. If you're going to attack Atlanta, it's with the guys on the inside of the field, not the outside of the field. Trey Burton available if Ertz sits. Vernon Davis against the Giants. Not going to get a lot of usage out of Vernon Davis, but we saw this same thing happen with Ben Watson, right? Where the Giants just love giving up touchdowns to, and the Browns love giving up touchdowns to tight ends. So your touchdown upside with Vernon Davis very high, especially in that offense. Where's the other dude that I like? Jack Doyle. Makes for a great leverage play with all the targets that he's getting, and everybody going to be on T.Y. Hilton, 4,700 in a game where they should be able to move the ball, the Indianapolis Colts. You have Jack Doyle getting a ton of targets, as well as a large market share of their red zone looks. And then if you want to come down a little bit, Charles Clay in a game that Buffalo has to win against Miami. 10 targets, 9 targets. He's back. If he happens to fall into the end zone, he only has 2 touchdowns on the year, not really his best skill, but a high floor for 3,700. Not very much chance for failing when you're getting 9 and 10 targets a week. If he happens to get into the end zone, all of a sudden massive profit from a $3,700 tight end. So I don't think tight end is as bad as people want to believe that it is. Please talk you out of it. Please talk you out of what? I'm looking. Eric Ebron, the Rebirth, the name that will not be spoken. I cannot. Who's 2,100? What defense are we talking about? 49ers against the Rams? I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't hate the 49ers defense if the Rams sit literally everyone. Let me lose money, please. No, I cannot do that. Thoughts on Cole versus Crowder? Hearns playing muddles the waters a bit. It does muddle the waters a bit, or muddies the waters a bit. I do agree with that. Probably D.D. Westbrook takes a leap forward, but Keenan Cole goes back to the slot where he was very, very effective as well. Marquise Lee is out. Hearns is kind of an outside guy. They don't really pepper him with a ton of targets. It takes a couple of targets away. I think it hurts Mickens the most rather than hurting Cole. Cole was playing 70% of the snaps with Lee there. You know, when it was Lee, D.D. Westbrook, and him, he was playing 70% of snaps. The other guys were playing 90, and he was just playing the slot. So now he just moves back to that slot role playing 70%. 49ers onslaught. Jimmy G, Goodwin, Hyde, and the defense. Interesting. If you think they're going to score 30 points, then that's a route to go, and I'm not against it. If you don't think they're going to score 30 points, I'm probably not going to suggest doing that. It comes down to what you believe they can do against that Rams defense. What quarterbacks do I like this week? A lot of them. I mean, I try not to just go through guys that I like. I'd rather answer your guys' questions. But, like, this week you're looking for quarterbacks that either have an advantage, you know are going to play, or are playing for something, right? So if Ben Roethlisberger plays, and right now it's looking like he may or may not, too much question there for me. So probably not going to play him. Russ Wilson, Cam Newton, Tom Brady, 3 high-dollar guys that I really like this week. Garoppolo, probably too expensive for my taste. Don't know that I want to jump on the Jimmy G train at 6,700, even though he's been fantastic. I don't think he has the touchdown makers for him to have a truly huge game with like 4 touchdowns. So I don't see the upside there for the price. Blake Bortles, if they start everybody, I love playing guys against Tennessee. Drew Brees looks like a great play because this is a game they have to win against a Tampa Bay secondary that can't stop anybody. Stafford against Green Bay. Green Bay also in the same boat. Kirk Cousins, another quarterback that I think is fine this week. Coming down, Jacoby Brissett, I think will be really highly owned at the price. You look at the last time that he played Houston, was it week 9? He had a 300-yard day with 2 touchdown passes. Also provides rushing upside as well. He is up and down. That is a roller coaster, but he is cheap and only needs 15 fantasy points, averaging 14.1 on the year. And then you've got the super cheap guys and the Jerry Bark as well, with Patrick Mahomes making his first start, albeit with a skeleton crew of wide receivers. Good rushing floor for Mahomes and the rushing upside if he can happen to get himself a touchdown. How much his receivers and tight ends can help him by being better than the guys lined up across the field from, I don't know if that's going to happen. That gives me a little bit of pause on Patrick Mahomes. So that's my quarterbacks that I like. Thoughts on Fitz? His final game probably, so they might be looking to pepper him with targets. Find somebody who loves you the way that Drew Stanton loves Larry Fitzgerald. Looking for value defense, Green Bay versus Detroit, DVOA versus D-line, O-line matchup, but it's hard to press the button. I mean, if I'm going super cheap, it's probably going to be San Fran. Frank Goredal, not for me, probably. Back to Landry and Cash this week. I don't know what to do with Landry this week. He is almost certainly gone, right? He's not going to be there next year. So, only threw him the ball 7 times last week against Kansas City. Buffalo, you beat on the ground. I don't know if I can trust Jay Cutler. He's been a guy that I've been on in cash pretty much all year. He's been in cash game consideration for me. I think he's still in cash game consideration. Maybe a fringe cash game play. I don't know that we need him completely. Like some weeks it's like, you know what, where else am I going to get 10 targets? I think you can find those targets this week, and we're going to get guys that are super cheap as well. Travis got 10 for 99 last time they played. I know. It was a couple of weeks ago, right there. 10 of 13 for 99. But he's gone, right? He's a free agent. He is not going to be on Miami next year. I wonder if he is going to be the dude that gets the love this week. I think it's a Drake week. If I want to play somebody on Miami and I'm going to play one, for me it's going to be Drake over Landry. Sorry for that. You're going back to Landry? Like I said, I don't hate it. I don't think it's a wrong play. I don't think it's a bad play. You can't narrow down to a 6 to 6.5K wide receiver to pair with a 4,700 flex. Why? What do you mean you can't? I mean, Landry has upside because he's getting a lot of red zone usage. Tournament play for me, Brandon Cooks in that range, 6,300. Golden Tate, 6,300 as well, going up against Green Bay, I think is fine. I mean, Kansas City and the Rams are going to be the value wide receivers, right? I mean, as of right now. So, like, Kansas City, Hey, who's left? We got the Bird Alert. We got Thomas. Right? We got DeAnthony Thomas at min salary. We got Albert Wilson at 3,200. On the Rams, where are the Ramsies? Rams. So we have Josh Reynolds, who should see a lot of run if the wide receivers sit. Tavon Austin week. Ew. And then, where's the other one? Green Bay, with everybody sitting. And Adam and Pete touched on this dude, and I've been trying to like dig and look for more on this kid. I mean, we could see some Jeff Janis this week with Allison questionable, Jordy Nelson out, Adams out. Don't know if Cobb's going to play. This cat right here saw 9 targets. No, not Trevor Davis. Where's the other dude? Clark. Saw 9 targets last week. Only caught 3 of them. He's a big dude. Might be worth a flyer at 3K. There's plenty of value wide receivers if you want to go that route. Galladay, another one for Detroit. Right? Kenny Galladay, 3,300. 8 targets last week. 4 catches each of the last 2. We saw him as a deep threat earlier this year. We have not seen it recently. Going to be to see if I'm going to play a Detroit wide receiver, though. I like Marvin Jones the best, to be honest with you. Last time they played Green Bay, and the last 3 times they've played Green Bay, he has absolutely stomped them. 32 fantasy points earlier this year. Marvin Jones Jr. just cannot be contained by these Packers cornerbacks. Yeah, there's a lot of value out there, guys. There's a lot of value. You don't see how Jamal Williams isn't an absolute lock. We talked about him at the top of the show. Don't mind him at all. You know, I think there's like 5 running backs in that kind of range that we like. Drake or Lewis. I think Lewis is the safer play. I like Drake a little bit less than Lewis at this point, but that could change. I think Drake's volume is sustained. You know, I think that Drake just is going to get a ton of looks, right? He's going to get passing game looks. He's going to get running game looks. He's going to get the goal line carries if they get any. I think Tunsil is a thing that we have to worry about. I also like... Where'd he go? I like Dion Lewis because of the recent volume that he's seen with nobody basically there. With Burkhead out and White out, he's the only game in town. They're not going to run Gillislee out there a ton, really only in goal line and short yardage. So you're getting a lot more snaps and a lot more volume for Dion Lewis in this pass game and in this run game for New England. And then the other running backs we like, Giovanni Bernard, the only game in town there for Cincinnati. Probably not the way I want to go, but he had a massive game last week. A lot of people are going to be on Henry this week because of the amount of carries he should get, but Jacksonville, a tough defense. He should get 20-plus touches in a game that Tennessee has to win. Jacksonville does not have to do anything. They have nothing to gain, but they may just, be hardos and go after it. Carlos Hyde, too cheap. McKinnon, fine. Jamal Williams should get 20 touches of the football, and Gallman with 8 targets a week the past 3 weeks. There's a lot of running backs available this week. Tyrod and Cash, don't hate it. Not very much upside with Tyrod, though. He's just not a high upside guy this year. Drake is really good at football. Why haven't they played him more this year? I mean, Chad answered it. MS1 Mun says Ajayi was there most of the year. Yeah, that's what it was. Collins needs 106 for 1,000 yards on the season, plus they need the game and perfect out. Yeah, I like that. There's a lot of running backs. There are a lot of running backs. They also need to win the game, which supersedes Collins. If they had nothing to play for, if they were locked in and Collins needed 106 yards for 1,000, I could see the team rallying behind him to try and get that for him. But they got to win the game first and foremost. So that's going to supersede any sort of statistical milestone. Now, if he's got like 70 yards... in the third quarter and they're winning by a bunch, they would probably play him instead of sitting him, right? Like running out the game, you say, well, they're going to run out the game, so they're obviously going to give it to him. Well, if they've already locked things up, then they probably wouldn't do that. They would rest him and go with a backup guy. But if he's got a milestone to go for at that point, they may do it. Exactly. Horse player just said it. Narrowing your running back pool is the challenge of the weekend. You can't play everybody. Exactly. That is going to be a major key for this weekend. So I really suggest you try and narrow your running back field down to about 5 that you think are the best cash game plays. Pick 5 guys. You're going to end up with 2 or 3 of them. Pick 5 that these are the best. Do it in tiers, right? Tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and include salary, value, expectation, projection, all that. Come up with your top 5. Pick 3 out of those if you're going to run 3 running backs in your DraftKings lineup, 2 in the running back, 1 in the flex. Then come up with guys that are a tier below them that are maybe fringe cash game plays that you're going to work into your tournament allocation. I'm probably going to run about maybe 8, maybe 10 running backs out there in different allocation levels, with my highest on that top 5. You know, my highest allocation on the top 5, and then sprinkle in the next 3 to 5 guys as well. But really narrowing it down is important. I do think that there is one trap at running back right now. You know, and it's a value running back, and I think he could be popular. Kind of feel like Malcolm Brown's a trap. I think people still want to play running backs against San Francisco. And San Francisco the last 4 weeks has been very, 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 very #good against the run. They've been a team that I have not wanted to play running backs against. And now you're talking about a Rams offense that's going to be without its quarterback, possibly without 1 or 2 of its starting wide receivers, 1 or 2 of its offensive linemen, and guys on defense. I would be okay going with a Rams 3K wide receiver, but I'm not sure I want to play Malcolm Brown at 3.9K. I'd rather play Gallman at 4.2, who's going to get way more inclusion in the passing game we've seen for the past 3 weeks, and was without other people on that offense, but still has his quarterback. As bad as you want to make jokes about how Eli is, he's better than the Rams' backup quarterback. So it's just a different situation. I personally think Malcolm Brown's a trap. If he has 100 yards from scrimmage and 2 touchdowns, I'm willing to be wrong here. That's just my feeling. You can't play everybody. I probably won't be on Malcolm Brown this week. You'll fade, and if you're wrong, you're wrong. Exactly. That is the perfect outlook for how you have to look at these things. It's exactly the outlook I took last night with Kawhi Leonard, right? I was wrong. Okay, I was wrong. I move on to Friday. But you have to be willing to take those chances and put yourselves out on those islands if you want to make the big bucks. There's an old saying, scared money don't make money, right? So what would be the point of me saying, well, I should have some Malcolm Brown. I have 150 lineups. Let me make 5 that have Malcolm Brown just in case. That's stupid. Either just fade him or don't. Take a stand, one way or the other. He's one of the guys you'll sprinkle in a couple of your lineups. Well, okay. Also, it depends on how many lineups you're gonna have. If he's 30% owned and you fade, you're looking pretty great. Exactly. Marvin Jones, Wayne Gallman, or Josh Doxson, Dion Lewis already have Hyde Jamal as running back 1 and 2. Doxson, Dion Lewis. I want the like if you already have those. I like those for cash. I like those 3 guys. I like the first one for tournaments. I like Jones and Gallman for GPP because I think they'll be much lower owned. For cash, I want Dion Lewis and Doxson or somebody Doxson-like at wide receiver because I want to block with Dion Lewis because he's going to be the highest owned running back in cash, I believe, at this point on Friday. While we're taping this on Friday. Doxson and Seahawks DST or Crowder and Cleveland. Crowder Cole with 49ers DK Cash. I like the second one. You're playing Gurley? Screw it, I'm playing Gurley. I know he's not playing, but he's better than Malcolm Brown, damn it. I'm surprised that like people aren't going to play week 17 of NFL. Like the slate is awesome. And the tournaments are really cool. Gurley low ownership again. I'll take it. I like this guy. I like that being friend. He may get more points than Brown. No, Brown will have more points. You love week 17? I do too. It's the most, to me, it's a lot of fun. There's still really big tournaments. Like there's like $3 million tournaments this week. $1 million GPP prize pool. One of them is $8. You win like $200,000 for first place. How do you not play that? Like, I don't even care if you play like single entry 3 max, you're a small field, small bankroll player. How do you not just toss your game in there for $8 and you know, if you just eke into cash, you double up, fine. But like, you have a shot at 200K for $8. Where else are you going to get that? You know, you have all this fantasy football knowledge floating around your head. Might as well try and make some money with it. Anti-Tinkercast this week? Yes. 45 minutes before lock, we're going to do the Anti-Tinkercast. It'll be on just like usual. I'll take a couple more questions, then we'll call it a show. Seems we've covered everything that we need to cover this week. Playing your first $25 single entry double up this week. Good luck, good luck. You've been 80 or 90% cash for the last 12 weeks. Good God. This week you're going 50-50 or 60-40 GPP because the slate is so good. I don't disagree with that. You must been, Horseplayer's been crushing cash games. You really, for those who don't know, and some, look, I have to speak to a wide audience, right? Like some of the people that watch this video don't know. You need like 55% to break even in cash games. You need to win 55%. If you're winning 80 to 90% of your cash games, your bankroll is skyrocketing. My lifetime win percentage in cash games is 63.5% across all sports for the last 6 years. So I'm a profitable player. I have a 10% edge on the field, essentially. I play higher stakes, so that number comes down because the rake is lower as you go up in stakes. So I have like a 10% edge on the field, a 10% ROI. Any dollar that I put in, I expect to get $1.10 out in head-to-head games, right? I'm sure there's people that are way better than that. I've had seasons, last football season, I was at like 80%. It's not sustainable long-term, but as long as you're sustaining over that break-even point, you're a money-making player. Oh, you've been playing 80%. Okay. I was going to say, good Lord, horse player, your bankroll has just exploded. You've been great with cash as well. Your GPP luck broke even, never a lot. You can't complain about it. Yeah. If you play that GPP life, you are looking to survive in advance, right? You want your bankroll to just kind of float along and wait for that opportunity when your core of players that you should be 50, 60, 70% on those 3, 4, 5 guys all go off on the same week, giving you an opportunity to float towards the top and really make a whole lot of money. You just need that 1 week, right? In NBA, you need that one night over the course of the 26 weeks that NBA or MLB lasts for you to have that one season-making night where you win all the money and you're a profitable player probably for the year if you're a small bankroll player. NFL, you can be profitable for your career if you have that 1 week as a DFS player. I had it last year in week 2 where I won $1.2 million. I've had other weeks where I've won $100,000, $200,000, $400,000 in that and in other sports as well, which led me up to that point. But like, you just got to get it right one time, guys. So like, it's about surviving in advance. It's not about like shove all the chips in the middle, lose and redeposit, right? I try to teach you to fish, to put yourself in a position to be profitable over time so you can be there when that bink opportunity comes. Every time you try to mix in GPPs with your 50-50s, you break even. You allocate your GPP money more to 50-50s, you'd have a bigger ROI. It's all about balance, and sometimes you do need to tweak that. If you find that your main lineup is doing very well, you should put more in cash games. And I used to preach 80-20, have 80% in head-to-heads, doubled ups, 50-50s, triple ups, things that paid out 33% of the field or more. Of your allocation per day. If you had like $100 in play, like 80 of it should have been in cash games and 20 should be in GPPs. Things are different for that at this point just because of the way that it is now, the way that the GPPs have gotten so much bigger that I want to be more exposed to GPPs than I used to, and the efficiency of cash games has increased, although at the low dollar level, if you're a small bankroll player, there is still a lot of opportunity in those games. D-Hop ruled out. Good Lord. That game is going to be ugly. I agree with you. Some people aren't good at GPPs. You have a double up mine. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know who's a really good cash game player but never plays GPPs like very often at all? Like he'll put his cash game lineup in GPPs for a little bit of extra upside is Birdwings. One of the best players ever in the history of daily fantasy. Sticks to 99% cash games. That's how he makes his money. That's how he brings home the bacon. Just plays cash games. Not greedy. Plays a ton of cash games. Puts his cash game lineup in GPPs. But that's where he knows that he can win. And that's where he stays. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So know where you are. Allocate your bankroll where it should go. Be, understand who you are as a player. And do the things that you do well. If you win at something, do that more. If you lose at something, do that less to increase your profitability and to minimize your leaks. We will be back on Sunday morning for the Anti-Tinkercast, 45 minutes before lock, before NFL lock. That is our biggest show of the week. Hopefully you guys will be there for that. Thank you guys for joining in. Appreciate it. Please click that like button and subscribe button on YouTube before you get on out of here, and we will catch you on Sunday morning. Bye, everybody.